All right, guys. One of the questions that I get most on my Instagram is, which hunting knife should I buy? I get a lot of people that are new hunters when they're going out in the field, and they really don't know maybe why there's different models of knives on our site and what they should use. And so I always usually start by asking them, what is it that you're gonna hunt? What is it that you're gonna do with your knife? Are you gonna also carry it every day, maybe to work? So that's always the thing to consider, is the application that you're actually gonna be using the knife in. So with that being said, I will say that any of our knives on our website, or almost all of our knives on our website, can be used in the field as a hunting knife. I'm obviously excluding our culinary line and maybe our bear tooth knife. That would be a bit excessive to carry. That being said, every other knife that we carry is a hunting knife. So let's start with where the company started, which was really with the Blackfoot, and then followed shortly thereafter with the Speed Goat. These two knives right here will do pretty much any animal that you will ever encounter. And we have had these knives from fishing trips all the way to Africa on Cape Buffalo, and frankly on elephants. It's actually pretty amazing the size of the animals that these knives have been used on. Now, that being said, I wouldn't say that these knives are perfect for all of those animals. And so that's where it gets into kind of some more specifics of the knives and what we should be using them for. So the Blackfoot, I think for North American game, is really, quite frankly, it's perfect. Deer, elk, bear, moose, all that kind of stuff. That little Blackfoot right there will do it. And I always like to say, you're really probably not gonna be using your knife, but maybe 5% of the time that you're in the field, if that, unless you just get lucky and you shoot something on opening morning. So 99% of the time out in the field, you're just gonna be carrying this knife. You're not necessarily gonna be using it. That being said, I like my knife to be accessible. So if it's a great big knife, I don't want it hanging off the front of me. So I like to carry a Blackfoot or a Speed Goat right here on my shoulder strap of my pack. So in regards to that, if you're just carrying it most of the time, weight is a big consideration. I consider weight in every knife we make from the field to the kitchen. To me, it's a very, very important factor. I don't want to carry more ounces than I need to. So the Blackfoot and the Speed Goat, they excel in that area. That being said, if you're going to the bush in Alaska for 10 days and you're going on a brown bear hunt or a moose hunt or a caribou hunt, something like that, you may consider a bigger knife. And that's where like a Stonewall blade comes in, or a Super Cub knife. These are a little bit bigger blades. There's a little bit more handle to hang on to, and you can actually do bigger jobs with that. You have more edge, which means more work that you can do before resharpening. And honestly too, this knife is designed particularly for more of a skinning process, though you still have enough of a tip on it if you need to cape, which I've done with the Stonewall, you can cape. It's hard for me to say which knife is my favorite in our lineup, but I'm somewhat partial to the Blackfoot because I launched the company with it. But this Stonewall knife with this stainless steel might very well be my favorite knife that we make. You can cape, you can skin, it's got some size to it. It's just all around a phenomenal knife. It's a little big to carry on your backpack strap, but you can still definitely do it. In the field, when you're on a big, big adventure, you may actually consider two knives. If you're going in the bush of Alaska and you know you're gonna be taking down a brown bear, you might want a little bit bigger knife in your pack for when you actually make that kill and you have a lot of work to do. And you may carry like a Blackfoot or like a Speed Goat like this, or a Blackfoot right on your shoulder strap, just for that constant like little tasks that you always need. If you're needing to open a freeze-dried meal, or you're needing to get into different situations with a knife, maybe a little bit of cooking at night over the fire, a little Blackfoot or a little Speed Goat might be super handy. The other thing with that is if I'm going on a trip like that, where I'm not gonna be coming back to my truck each night, I'm gonna always have two knives on me, just in case I lose one for some reason. If I leave it laying, or if it happens to fall out of my sheath, or something happens, I always have a backup knife in my pack. Especially, like I say, that's on a, I don't carry two knives when I'm just hunting around around here in Montana. But if it's a big trip and I have zero backup, I'm absolutely gonna have 2 blades on me for just in case possibilities. The other advantage to the Speed Goat knife is the paracord that we have. You can use that paracord to guy out your tent, fix your boot laces, hang up meat, tie up horns on your pack, all kinds of different purposes for that paracord. So that's another thing to consider. If you're carrying a larger knife in your pack, maybe carrying this right here nice and flat against your body on your pack, plus you have another use, which is all that cord if you get in a bind. So that's another thing to consider. When you're buying a hunting knife, and one of the biggest reasons I launched my company, there's 2 reasons. When I went to a store, I saw blades were super heavy, they were not lightweight, they were cumbersome, they weren't well designed, and frankly, the edge geometry was terrible. And edge geometry is getting into the weeds of knife making a little bit that a lot of customers don't really understand. But when you take your fingers from the top of the blade and you slide down to the edge and you feel that blade, a lot of these blades are really thick and fat back here behind the edge. That all provides extra pressure on the edge. The meat and the hide can't pass by the edge well enough. And then when you go to resharpen on a stone like this, you have all that heavy weight behind the edge that you have to remove and work on to get that edge resharpened. So knives should be able to be resharpened easily. These are nice thin edges that I have on the edge geometry on these. 10/1000ths of an inch, 12/1000ths of an inch thickness on that edge. That makes it really easy for you to do a quick little touch up in the field. That being said, you should always carry some kind of a small stone in your pack. I just carry a little stone just for a little touch up. If you leave your house or you leave for your trip with a sharp knife, you very likely won't even need to use that stone. But there again, especially on a big trip, I always have those contingencies built in for the tools that I use. So that's kind of a little explanation of a video about the knives we make and what you should take for hunting. Deer, small game, even elk, the Blackfoot and the Speed Goat are great. If you have great big hands, or you know you're going to be getting into bigger game or lots of skinning, the Stonewall, the Super Cub's even a little bit bigger than the Stonewall. And then when you finally get that meat broken down or that animal broken down, it's time to cut up meat. Or maybe you're hanging up a carcass in your shop at home or your garage at home. That bear tooth is phenomenal for skinning and then fleshing out your hide. That's a great knife for that. That's just not a knife I would really carry in my pack. So there's the explanation about the hunting knife that you should purchase. It really is dependent on what you feel and your taste and what you like. Consider size of hand, animals that you're going to be taking, size of blade that you need, and if you're going to be off the grid for a long period of time, consider taking 2. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it, and good luck hunting.